But somehow, in our world, we need a voice that will begin to put people together and let them know that your calling and your position is so valuable that somehow we'll begin to close the gap in their callings to look like this. How do you connect the church with the city? By recognizing that the church is already in the city, but pastors don't realize that what you're called to do in the city makes any difference to the church at all. Bring your money and bring some friends, because you all got to come to church to get spiritual and get saved. Rather than, how do I send you out to be light and fruit and do what H said, how do we connect people within this city in such a way that they have this sort of thing? I've got to go, but here's the crucial question. And that is, are you willing to be commissioned or ordained to send, invest people to serve what they cannot control, to lead what you cannot condone? This is a definition of theology of work. This is a definition of what my brother Dennis was called to do. This is what other people are called to do. And they can only do that effectively if their pastor says, I agree, this is your calling, you need to go, and I'll help resource that. I won't tie you into what you have to do here on Sunday morning. I want you to be doing that out there. I want you to become like Daniel, like Joseph, like Esther, like Nehemiah. I want you to go to places that no pastor can ever condone or get credit for. And I know you're going to have to do things, as Brad was saying today, do things that my spirituality will not allow me as a pastor to do. And by the way, this little thought, if Acts chapter 10 verse 13 and actually chapter 10 verse 1 through the rest of the chapter says, Peter's spirituality that kept him pure as a kid was the spirituality that kept him from doing the call of God in his life. The spirituality of our parents that we learn that keep us, if we simply live in that spirituality, we will not do what God has called us to do in the future. He had to go beyond what kept him pure, which is what Brad was saying. The tragedy is they need to hear from God. It's okay to do that. And pastors are the voice that give that authority. Here's a passage which are you willing to condemn? But and with this in mind, this is from the Message. I wish that Brad, as he read this morning, even though I am free from the demands and expectations of everyone. I wish Brad had felt that at 22. I was free from everybody's expectations and demands. I voluntarily become a servant to any and all in order to reach the wide range of people, religious, non-religious, meticulous, moralist, loose-living, immoralist, the defeated, the demonized, whoever. I don't take on their way of life. I keep my bearings in Christ, but enter their world and try to experience things from their point of view. I become just about every sort of servant there is in my attempt to lead those I meet to a God-saved life. I did all this because of the message. I didn't just want to talk about it. I wanted to be in on it. This is not just about saving people's souls. It's about saving people's countries. It's about saving people's environments. I want to be in on it. I want to be like Joseph, who said, you know, you thought it was for evil, but God thought it was for good, so I could be in a position to save many people. Was he talking about salvation of souls? I don't think so. He saved 2 countries from starvation. You'll hear from the story today that my brother Dennis basically saves lives. He took the light of the world, physical light, through a company, to places that no one else wanted to go, the worst zip codes in the world. Ray took the light of the gospel. We think it's great that Ray took the gospel. The problem is the gospel doesn't begin in the New Testament. It begins in Genesis 1:1. And Ray and Dennis both took the gospel. Both passionate about Jesus. But their lives are so different that most people don't understand. And I just challenge you as pastors, spiritual leaders. Well, you can start at 45, as you heard Jack talk about today. It begins in the mother's womb. Believe it. Look for it. Use it. Send them early. Send them in your name and invest in them. And watch what happens.